I'm a man. I'm 40.
String cheese. It's just weird.
I'd agree with you, but then we both be wrong.
Hold up. It's the Chargers Squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
Well, hello and welcome to the Locked On Chargers Squad Show midweek edition. Pete Fox covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Jim Daniels covering sports everywhere since 2001, specifically LA. And of course, Kenjon Barnner, KB in the league for 10 years, 3 rings. And now we're fortunate enough to have him here we share him with the Big Ten Network. Which there's some big stuff going on there, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Chargers, but first we got to talk about Mike Gundy getting fired. Who remembers the I'm a man, I'm 40?
I figured that's where you're going with that.
One of the great post-game rants in all time. I mean, that was a mantra for decades. I can't believe he got fired finally. I mean, I thought he was going to get fired right after that whole thing, but he continued to be employed by Oklahoma State, and finally they decided to move on for whatever reason. To have a tenure that long as a college coach is quite an achievement, to say the least. So back to our Chargers, who are 3-0 in first place. Getting ready for the Giants. Oh, real quick, hold on. By the way, today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if that bet is a winner, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And I would say, lots of wise bets to use across the FanDuel app. If you're betting on the Chargers, lots of different directions you could go. But I think if you just took Justin Herbert and started betting on him and his stats, you probably come out looking pretty good. 28 of 47, 300 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But I think the bigger thing here is that the comfortability that we're seeing from him right now is quite remarkable. Yesterday, I was watching Colin and Cowherd, and he did a little bit sort of about how they're kind of like Batman and Robin, Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. And, he had a bunch, Bonnie and Clyde, and all of these different analogies. And it was quite funny because the graphic was, they had put the faces of these two guys on all of these different characters, and it was pretty funny. But his point was that they're just really in harmony right now, and everything is rolling and looking good. And Jim and I were talking about it briefly, KB, before the show, that he just seems so comfortable that even when things are tough, like they were against the Broncos, he just has an answer for almost everything that's thrown at him.
Well, he's been in the league for quite some time, right? So you have to put into account that Justin has seen a lot over the course of his career. He's seen probably every defense that you could possibly see, outside of guys disguising their coverages and all that. He's seen a lot. So there's growth in that. There's comfort in that, of knowing that I've been in these spaces. I've been in these places before. So this isn't nothing new to me. Not only that, getting time under you, getting experience under you, that helps. But also Marcus Mariota, shout out to my Oregon guy, after the interview with the Washington game, he said something that kind of hit me. He talked about culture, right? What a coach can do and how it can create culture. And when you look at Harbaugh and what he's done throughout his history as a head coach, this is a culture builder. This is a guy that builds his players up. This is a guy whose players buy into everything that he's doing. And then it also says a lot, again, to the fact that when you can develop a relationship with a player and a player can develop that relationship with a coach, there's an absolute comfort level there to be able to just go out and play ball and know that I'm understood by my head man and my head man understands me. So it's a great relationship. And anytime you can have that connection, we've seen it time and time again. You look at Tom and Bill, even though they had their rifts later on in the end. You look at Breeze out there in New Orleans with Peyton. When you see productive quarterbacks and quarterbacks who succeed, it's usually a working relationship with the head man and the quarterback.
That's what I was going to ask you, JD.
I'm sorry, Pete. I just wanted to pile on and say it's on full display too, because the way that when the play starts to break down and he starts looking, I don't see panic in him. Like I'll just pick one person, Justin Fields. he panics way too quickly. I mean, he gets a couple of looks and then he's looking to run. Now, Herbie has got the ability to run. He's a big guy. He's a galloper. So when he takes off, he can gobble up some yards real quick, but he's not too quick to do it. I think where he's picking and choosing to run the ball is really, really smart. And I think that plays to the comfortability level that he's at in this offense with this team, with his teammates.
Jim, who can you think of? Kenyon mentioned a couple of, historical pairings of coaches and quarterbacks that have been successful. I'm sure you could come up with a couple more that are kind of similar like this. Of course, the two that he mentioned won Super Bowls, but that's without a doubt at this point of the season, we could definitely jump on that bandwagon and say, look, the Chargers are at least in the conversation 3 games in to be a contender to make a run for a Super Bowl this year. So who else can you come up with that is like Herbert and Harbaugh?
I'm going to go back into ancient history and talk about Air Coryell, because that's what attracted me to the Chargers years and years and years ago. Is they were fun to watch. They had a great crew, the receivers, JJ, and of course you have the Hall of Famer in their tight end. You had so many different guys, Joyner. Then they brought Chuck Muncie in to balance out the running game. It was a fun team to watch, and those guys played for Don. Those guys would go out there and play their butts off for that guy.
And look, you can come further to this era. Andy Reid, you can go Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb, even though they didn't win a bowl, but that working relationship. You can go Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, Sean McDermott, and my guy out there in Buffalo right now. I don't want to call his name, but Josh Allen. You can go to the John Harbaugh, right, with Lamar. Yeah. The list goes on and on and on of productive quarterbacks and a healthy relationship with the head coach. There's so many of them.
Yeah, it really does feel like, when you've got that confidence on your side where the coach has got your back and like, look, we can look at Kansas City right now, who's been struggling a little bit, and Andy Reid's getting into it with his players. We've seen him get into it with Mahomes before. It is interesting when that happens, especially to a team that has been as dominant as they are, but has gotten off to a bad start. Now, none of us think that this team is gone, but we're definitely in a good position to hopefully come out on top in this AFC West. But yeah, the relationship between the coach and the quarterback is huge, and it just feels right now like Justin Herbert. To me, it's like he's a different sort of quarterback, right? The skills are still there, but it's like they're being fine-tuned and utilized at a higher level.
Their relationship, Harbaugh and Herbie, is almost father-son like, it seems like to me, because the way that he approaches him, the look on his face, and he slaps his shoulder pads, and the way he looks him in the eye, it's almost father-son like, all right, son, come on, we're gonna go out there and whoop some butt today. Let's go. And Herbie gets that kind of sheepish smile on his face, and he's just buying in, man. He loves playing for Coach Harbaugh. Yeah,
I couldn't agree anymore with that. There's, again, I'm going to lean on this heavily while we're talking about that. There's just something to be any relationship, right? Whether it's your wife, your husband and wife relationship, the relationship with your kids, everything is about a relationship being developed and built on trust, communication, and knowing that I have your back, knowing that regardless of what goes on out there on the field, when I come to this sideline, I know you got my back. Whatever I do, good, bad, ugly, in between, you're there. And that's what we're seeing with Herbie. And Herbie has had a turbulent career when it comes to coaches. There's been no sustainability, but to finally have somebody in place like Harbaugh, who is going to be there, who's going to bring out the best in him, we're seeing the best of Herbie right now.
Yeah, and how important is the confidence? It really, confidence is huge in professional sports, right? Huge. You can have all the skill in the world, but you go out there and you don't have confidence in yourself or in the system that's surrounding you. It can all just fall apart. Unrealized expectations are a big part of professional sports. And it seems like the confidence to make everything seem just a little bit easier, right? Everything's slowing down.
And when you're Justin Herbert and you hear your coach say that it's his job to get you to the Hall of Fame, man, if that doesn't fill you with confidence and fire, I don't know what else will.
KB, what's like? Not that I'm trying to find negative things, but you look at Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, they won a Super Bowl, but reportedly those guys didn't get along all that well. So does that kind of give those guys even more credit? Like, wow, they did it and they didn't really get along? Because it's surprising, because Pete Carroll is a great guy to be around, kind of like Harbaugh. They are, players, coaches.
Well, I'll go back to my New England days with Bill and Tom. That relationship wasn't the best towards the end. I was in New England in 2018. That relationship wasn't the best, out to the point where I had turf toe. And I was going to TB12 to go get treatment. And I come into the training room and they're like, I'm like, I'm getting treatment at TB12. They said, do not say that to anyone else in the building. No, I kid you not. You're laughing, but I'm serious as a heart attack on Christmas Day. Yeah. They were dead serious. Do not say that to anybody. Bill will not like that. That'll be an issue. And then being in the locker room, you can kind of see little things here and there. Bill would make comments, but nevertheless, they won a Super Bowl in 2018. So, you know what I mean? So there's a professionalism that comes with being a athlete and being a coach, right? You come in, you got a job to do. I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me, but we can effectively work together and go out here and get the job done. That's our job. Our job is not to like each other. But when you have that added benefit of liking each other, of respecting each other, it makes the whole experience a hell of a lot better for everybody around.
We had heard those stories, Jim. That's what you.
I know, it was real. It was real.
That TV thing was ugly, consternation.
You didn't even talk about it.
Right. Yeah. Brutal. That's great stuff right there. Awesome. So the Chargers 3-0, off to a fantastic start, coming off a win against the Denver Broncos, and on to face the New York Giants, but at least one man down. We'll talk about that after the break and what we'll expect from the backfield without Najee Harris. Pete Fox, KENJON Barnner, Jim Daniels, the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. We'll be right back. All right, today's episode of the Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff every Sunday, Thursday, and Monday for that matter, with a can't miss offer right now. New customers, if you're not on FanDuel and you want to be, now is a good time to do that. If you're new to FanDuel, you'd get a $300 bonus bet if you make a $5 bet and that bet wins. So no pressure, but find one that's a home run and find one that is a guaranteed winner. You make that $5 bet, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bets. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. Pete Fox, KENJON Barnner, and Jim Daniels. Chargers lost Najee Harris with a torn Achilles. We knew it the second we saw it. I cringed. My wife thought it was something considerably more. When she saw it, she's like, "What were you cringing about?" I'm like, "That's brutal to see." I don't know about you guys. When KENJON was like, "That's no big deal. I see that all the time." When you see it like that and you see that thing happen and you know exactly what it is, for me, look, I tore my ACL. So anytime I see any sort of leg injuries like that, I cringe and go, yeah. But yeah, that, and then, somebody commented in the chat after the game on Sunday that they saw him crying, and that person welled up, watching him on the sideline crying, and it's got to be tough, right? I know you haven't torn yours, have you, KB?
Torn what?
Your Achilles at any point in your career?
You almost made me curse. I rebuked that. I've torn nothing. No.
Good. You're amazing.
And Najee's never missed a game, never missed any time before. So if that brought him to tears, I'm not surprised why, because that's the first time in his career. That's tough to deal with, knowing that the season's over and he's without a contract when he gets to next year, right?
Yeah.
He's done for the rest of this year for sure. And that is always a tough one to come back from, we just spent 10 minutes talking about confidence. When you have an injury like that, the confidence, getting it back is tough, because you're never feeling that you're comfortable and ready to give it 100%.
And that's not just any injury, right? That's not like your ACL where, guys are coming back and it's not effective. As a running back, like, that's your cutting ability. That's your explosiveness. Ankles are everything. You know what I'm saying? As a back. So you have to hope that he can. Medicine and technology is far advanced, but you have to hope that he can come back and be the same back. You know, that Achilles that's an ugly injury for any athlete. I mean, you see guys in the NBA come back from, you see Kevin Durant come back and he still looks like Kevin Durant. So it is possible. So I hope, you know, for Najee, he can come back and be that same guy, because as we seen in that game, he was coming on.
And reportedly, JD, we talked about this after the show. It feels like Kimani Vidal will be the guy to fill in that third spot. Now that the Harris is out, and we liked him all along in the preseason. I feel like he's going to fit in just real. Like, he was one of those guys that we were like, God, I hate to lose him. And you know, Rocket was the other one, which they lost off of the practice squad. So to have Kimani Vidal there, I think is a nice piece.
Lucky.
Where do you think he fits in, KB?
I think you use him in the screen game. I think you use him, you know, you try and figure out a way. I don't know what his route running ability is, but we seen in prison, this dude runs hard. He runs with intent. He runs with power. He runs with aggression. So he fits right into this mode. And I do believe that he will be successful. Look, this is you hate that it happens, right? But you never complain how an opportunity comes. So for Haskins, so for Vidal, this is your opportunity. Because how you guys perform will determine how this organization moves forward. So if you guys don't perform, I won't be surprised if they go out and sign somebody that's out on the street right now that's looking for a job. You have a couple of guys. You have Gus Edwards, who I believe is still a free agent, who was here last season. So you may see him back, you know, depending on how I know they have a connection with him, Roman and Harbaugh, from their Baltimore days. So that is something that the Chargers could see. They could go out and look that way, depending on how this week goes with the production of those guys behind Omarion Hampton.
I think he's the first I'm sorry, Pete. I think he's the first choice, Gus Edwards. But there's a couple of other guys out there that I wonder if you don't want to maybe go get and put on the practice squad, just so you can have, because you're losing an able-bodied rusher. Why don't we bring in somebody else? Zach Moss, I think, is still out there. Herbert is still out there. There's some guys out there that are similar talents to what Najee Harris was. I think Gus Bus is probably the most likely one, because he's he's familiar with the system, with the players and stuff like that. And I think he'd be like maybe a good safety blanket to have around, or put some on the practice squad. Do you think they go out and get one of those guys?
I do. I mean, you lost a guy in Najee, right? So you have to make up for that. And this is no disrespect to those guys, but neither Haskins or Vidal is Najee Harris. They don't bring to the table what Najee brings to the table. That's 4 years consecutive of 1,000 yards rushing. You have a guy in Gus Edwards who's out on the street that has been proven, who did his thing in Baltimore, who put up numbers in Baltimore, and to your point, is very familiar with the Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh system. So all those other guys are out there, but now I have to take the time for these guys to learn and have them catch up to the learning curve, where I can bring Gus in, and the system is no different. So you still have your playbook from last year, I'm sure. You still know the plays, you still know 2 minute, you still know these different things. And let's not act like Gus didn't perform in the spots that he got in, you know, outside of the offensive line having their issues and injuries and whatnot last season. Gus did pretty well, you know, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they did.
What I'm reading from Bolt Beat is that Harbaugh and Ortiz are scouring the market. So they are going to be looking, or they are looking right now. Here's the numbers for Vidal. I guess this is preseason. Carried the ball 43 times, 155 yards and 62 yards reception. They likened him in this little story I'm reading to Austin Ekeler. And that's a fair comparison.
Is it? No, it's not.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that
in comparison to Ek.
Listen,
I was with Austin his rookie year, right? With the Chargers. That kid is different. I'm not gonna make that comparison. I can't because I witnessed that firsthand. Preseason, I'm like, oh, this dude is different. Austin Ekeler is the reason I lost my job. He's the reason I got cut. And so I witnessed what Austin Ekeler was. Austin Ekeler is an anomaly for his size and the strength and the speed. Like, I'm not comfortable making that comparison.
Well, only because you're giving a lot of credit to Ekeler. I'm just saying, I'm saying what I'm reading in this story, and I would agree to a certain extent, is that, like, from a style standpoint, not like
no. No.
All right.
Oh, listen. When you look at Austin Ekeler and you watch the way, like, don't get me wrong, Vidal runs hard. right? But there's more to the running back position outside of running hard. You couldn't. Austin Ekeler, his contact balance was next level. His ability to see cuts, get in and out was next. Austin Ekeler is special, and there's a reason why he was with the Chargers for as long as he was and got paid the way that he got paid.
Didn't you say that he catches the ball out of the backfield, Vidal, like Ekeler does? I mean, that was a big.
No, I said I'm not sure about his receiving ability because we haven't seen a lot of that. We didn't see it. We didn't see it in preseason. All we seen, they played bully ball with Vidal. They gave him the rock and, hey, go run through that wall. And that's exactly what he did. He is a physical downhill runner. No doubt about that. If you want a first down, he'll go get that. But yeah, I'm just not. I won't do that to my guy Ekeler.
Well, the guy that you need to criticize, and not me, is Jason Reed with Bolt Beat. He's the guy that thinks that that's the comparison. That's the comp.
Well, listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion. So I won't rain on his parade.
Well, nonetheless, we're going to see Vidal as to whether or not he catches the ball out of the backfield like Austin Ekeler. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. And we'll get our first look at him against the Giants on Sunday, an early window game for us here on the West Coast. And it's a great opportunity for us to go 4-0. A lot of the people in the chat here are like, bring on Jackson Dart, JD. Right. He was a Trojan for a minute, right? Or was he
first year? Yeah.
And so we don't know a whole lot about Jackson Dart. I don't think anyone does really, but it's going to be interesting. And you look at this Giants team, and they haven't done a whole lot of anything. They got pushed around by the Chiefs, who needed to win badly. 22-9 there. Scatterboo had 60 yards. That's a guy that I will be interested to see, because I liked watching him in college, because he's a different kind of guy too, right, KB?
Dog, absolute dog.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
on Dart, he's going to run a little bit. You know, Russ used to do that. He doesn't do that anymore. I don't know why. I guess just age or whatever. But this kid is going to run a little bit. So you're going to have
Dart?
to. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm the idiot again. Pete never fails to display his lack of football knowledge. Uh-oh. Yeah, because I had an opinion. You're right, dude. I don't know anything about football, because I shared an opinion from another guy that I kind of agreed with.
Listen, fans. We got to take it easy on my guy, Pete. We got to take it easy, okay? Yeah, we got to take it easy on my guy.
First, I say that Derwin James had a bit of an off game when he did not, and I admitted that I was wrong on that one. That was putting my foot in my mouth there, because again, it was funny. I was having this conversation last night with my wife, who's not into football at all. But I don't know how. I don't know what I was watching, because I was watching that game, believe it or not. I don't know how I missed that performance from Derwin James, because that's what we get from Derwin James every single week. I don't know how I missed him leading the team in tackles, and just as David put it, wrecking people. Absolutely true. I saw some highlights after, replays of that game. I didn't watch the whole game again. I'm not that big of a football nerd, as all of the people in the chat are. They watched that game 3 times already. But anyway, I don't know what I saw a couple of plays where I was like, that's not very Derwin James like. And then I saw the number and I was like, oops, put my foot in my mouth there. So yeah, you're right. Salute. I do not know anything about football. I don't know how I got this job. I just stumbled into it. I'm a total freaking idiot. So anyway, let's take a break and let's see if I can find some knowledge here in the break, because if I don't have anything. All right, it's the Locked On Chargers Squad today. By the way, salute. That's why we have KENJON BARNER here, is to give you the football knowledge. I'm just the bus driver here. Jim and I are the bus drivers, and Jim has knowledge as well, but I'm just here stirring things. I
have the bus driver's license too. Yeah, believe me.
Listen, we all here driving the bus. We all out here giving knowledge and giving game the best way we can.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next break, the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. KENJON BARNER, Jim Daniels, and Pete Fox. All right, today's episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine. Hold on, is there a 5 Hour Energy thing here? No, there's not. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. One of the cool things about 5 Hour Energy is how portable it is. That little bottle, you can just kind of throw it in your bag, even in your pocket, and it'll go with you wherever you go. Big taste, tiny shot, and you don't forget it. Like today I walked out, I always fill up my water bottle before I leave, and of course I walked out of the house and left it sitting on the counter. With the 5 Hour Energy, you just put it in your pocket and it's right there with you. You can take it anywhere and get the boost you need when you need it. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in store or online. 5hourenergy.com, the number 5hourenergy.com, or at Amazon today. All right. Chargers 3-0, sitting atop the AFC West. When you look at where this team is now with a winless team in the Giants ahead, it'd be crazy to think they could lose this game. Somebody last week or Sunday after the game was like, don't sleep on the Giants. Listen, I'm not sleeping on anybody, but we're going to have at least a 7-point road favorite here in the Chargers, at least. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that is unfair to say that the Chargers will cruise and win this game rather comfortably, especially with Jackson Dart on the other end of things for the Giants. So as you look up and down what comes next, the Commanders, they're a good team. And I hope the Chargers are not looking ahead to the Commanders, but after the Commanders, we got the Dolphins, who are not a good team right now. They could be by then, but I doubt it. So 5-1 doesn't seem all that unrealistic. When you look at this schedule and the division, KB, how do you, like, at this point, is it too soon to start thinking if the Chargers don't win the division this year, it would be a disappointment?
I think it's way too soon, just because this is the NFL. It's any given Sunday. You talk to any coach, you talk to any player, that's what you're going to hear. It's any given Sunday, because at the end of the day, we're all professional athletes. We're all in the top 1% of what we do. And so even though there are some bad teams on this schedule, I don't have to be better than you throughout the whole season. I just need to be better than you on that day. I just need you to have a slight off day and I can get you. And so looking at the Giants, this is a dangerous game in my opinion, because why? You have no film on Jackson Dart outside of preseason. So you don't really know what to expect from him. You don't really know you don't know his tendencies like that. You don't know anything about this guy outside of the little glimpses that you got during preseason. So excuse me, it is a dangerous game. And I think that quarterback change energizes a bad football team, right? Because whether they say it publicly or not, I'm sure there are guys on that offensive, even on the defense, that's like, hey, put the young buck in. Like, we like him. And then when you've seen him in preseason, Dart brought a completely different level of energy to that Giants roster. He brought a completely different demeanor, different attitude. I'm not saying they're going to beat the Chargers, but what I am saying is that this game does become dangerous, because now this team becomes re-energized by a guy that can go out there and play the game of football at a high level. He's an absolute baller and he's a gamer.
And coming off a bad performance like this, they're going to inherently, you want to do better. When you're Malik Neighbors and you have the kind of game that he had, it's going to be on his mind all week long. I got to make a difference this week. That was awful. And I got to be better. I got to help out my guy here because this is what we wanted. And so, you have to be careful of that stuff. You have to be careful of this kid taking off too. He ran a little bit he can run. At Ole Miss. He's going to take off running when he gets scared. He's going to get some pressure, and they're going to have to be ready for that. Yeah, I think it's very important that the Chargers do not look past this team. They're hungry. They're cornered. They need a win in any way that they can get it. And, we know this game, man. All it takes is a turned ankle or a sprained wrist or something like that to change the complexion of the game completely.
This is a team it's a team with absolutely nothing to lose, right? So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to throw the whole kitchen sink at you. I'm going to throw the kitchen sink. I'm going to throw the cabinets. I'm throwing everything at this Charger team because I have nothing to lose.
Yep.
Hey, how long is the rope for Jackson Dart? Is he the guy throughout this entire game, or is Russell Wilson kind of sitting there in the bullpen ready to go?
You're keeping Russ ready, but at the end of the day, this is your first round draft pick, right? This is your guy. This is who you see your future in being. This is your future. So if I'm benching Russell Wilson for Jackson Dart right now, I don't know if I'm taking him out the game because I'm not bringing him up. I'm not starting him to sit him down. We clearly don't see something that we like in Russ. We clearly don't see that Russ is the guy right now. So we want to move in different directions. I hate when coaches play the game of, oh no, we just want to see this guy in this spot. No, you don't. This is the NFL. This isn't high school. This isn't college. This is the NFL. You're replacing that guy because you don't like what he's doing. You don't like how it's a performance-based business. And clearly Russ is not performing. And so when you bring this young buck in, I'm taking the cuffs off. I'm calling the game as if it is Russ, a guy with years and years of experience, and I'm going to see what this kid can do. I'm going to watch him go out here and lead this team, and hopefully we come out with a victory. But I'm not going to hold him back because I'm fearful of a mistake or anything. No, go out there and make your mistakes. That's how you learn how to play the game of football.
Yeah, and it's rare in the NFL when you make a change at quarterback and then flop back, right? Like they got to give this guy some rope. They got to give him an opportunity and some runway. It
has to be absolutely horrendous, right? He has to go out there and completely look terrible. I think for them to go back, if he looks halfway decent, I think they'll ride with it. If this is a close game and they lose by 3 or a touchdown, I think Russ' season now becomes the backup. This game, it has to be a blowout for them to say, okay, he's not ready.
Yeah, Jim, you mentioned Malik Neighbors. Are you surprised when you look at the Giants receiving numbers that Cam Scatterboo led the way with 6 catches and 61 yards? I mean, that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, because they're leaving him alone. They're figuring, well, that's going to be just a dump off. That's going to be a last place that they're going to go. And, that's just the way the game is going. I don't know if you want to blame that as much on how much you want to blame on coverage or how much you want to blame on the receivers themselves. But, they just had a bad game. And, Kenyon, you can speak to this better than anybody. When you come off a bad game like that, when everybody played bad, all facets of the game were bad, and the coaching staff has decided we're going to make a change, a big change. The signal caller, the guy that runs the offense, we're going to go with something different. Now, when you're on the offense, how do you feel about that? If this is your guy, are you pumped up and you're ready to go, and you're like, we're going to make sure that we're successful in this? Or are you thinking, man, he's not ready, and I don't know if this is the right move or not?
I'd have to be in that locker room to truly answer that question, because I haven't been on a team where a change was made, right? So I came into the league with the Carolina Panthers and we had Cam Newton. I get traded to Philadelphia and we had started off with Sam Bradford, and then he got hurt. We had Mark Sanchez, and then it was Carson Wentz. Then I get to, where'd I go? I've been everywhere. Then I get to Atlanta. I get to New England. Tom Brady, he's not going anywhere. I get to Atlanta. Matt Ryan, he's not going anywhere. I get to Tampa Bay, Tom Brady.
Oh, wow.
So I haven't been in a situation where there's been that change, right, at the most important part of the roster. But when I look at this team and I watch them play, they didn't look like they were there. And so maybe again, this is what this team wanted. Maybe these guys wanted Dart at the quarterback position from the jump, because you hear things going back to Russ's Seattle days. Sometimes there's a missing link with the locker room and Russ. And I'm not saying that's the case there in New York, but I've heard things where guys, maybe prefer somebody else.
Yeah, that's odd to me that he's had such an odd relationship with his own teammates. I mean, the Seattle team was absolutely split between offense and defense. But let me go back to the Giants for a second. And KB, I want to ask you this too, because one of the things that I find distasteful about the Giants is the way their head coach behaves on the sideline. Yeah. He's always walking around shaking his head like, like you guys. I mean, look, you're supposed to be the one coaching them up and teaching them. You can't be walking around shaking your head like they're just screwing up and not doing what you want. This is on you, isn't it?
Yeah, when you look at your head, man, that's not something that you want to see, right? Because you're supposed to be the heartbeat, the pulse of the team. You're supposed to be the guy that, gets the guys going, that builds them up. But when you have the body language that you have, what are your players going to do? What your players are looking at you. You have that body language. So I almost said something right now. Now let me bring it back a little bit. You're dealing with grown men at this level, right? So we're looking at you, we're observing you, and we're developing an opinion based about how you interact with us. And so when you see that as a player, it's kind of like, all right, bro, I see you. You can stay over there. So it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you that's kind of what we talked about in the beginning. The confidence that Harbaugh brings to this entire unit is kind of the opposite thing that's going on in New York right now. It's this like frustration and disgust. that it's hard for a coach to, overlook and move on from. So I get it, but yeah, you got to be bigger than that, better than that. When we look at what the Chargers can improve on, we've talked about it a couple of weeks. They improved on the defensive back play against the Raiders quite a bit. They looked very good there. Last week, Sunday, against the Broncos, obviously that was a defensive minded game. And for the most part, yeah, they played great defense. There were some breakdowns a couple of times. We saw it in the backfield. Alohi Gilman got burned at least once. But when we come into this game against the Giants, I feel like this is kind of ripe and prime for them to get back on the horse and have another stellar game. Tarheeb Still, St. Just, he played well against the Broncos. Had a couple of nice pass breakups there. So it feels like those guys will be more than ready to go for this one, KB.
I need this to be more about the Chargers than it is about the Giants. So what I mean by that is, regardless of who we're playing as a player, I need you guys to take it upon yourself to perfect your craft. It doesn't matter if the talent is lesser than what you have. I need our secondary to be great, want to be great. Don't be great against a bad team. I need you to be great for yourself. When you look in the mirror, you can say, I did my job. I did everything I was supposed to do. I need D-Jack to be better. I played with him in Carolina as well. Dude has all the talent in the world, but I need more from you. I need you to bring your best to the table. I need Gilman to get better. I don't know what it is, the communication, whatever. I need more from the secondary. Not everybody. Clearly, Derwin James is doing his handling his business. Tarheeb Still is another guy that's handling his business. But collectively, I need this game to be about the Chargers getting back on track for the Chargers, and not just because we're facing a lesser team.
Jim, obviously, Chargers dealing with some injuries, not a lot. It's still pretty good. But with the offensive line losing Mekhi Becton, he's questionable to say the least. That's the way they have labeled him.
Back.
Yeah, more than likely. Trey Pipkins got poked in the eye. He's not even questionable. He's back. So the question becomes at this point, Salyer is the guy that will be starting now, or no, that's Becton's backup. So you think Becton's going to be back, so we don't have to worry about Salyer. We spent a lot of time talking about that after Sunday, whether or not Salyer will be ready if Becton is out. But you think Becton's going to be back?
I do, yeah. And if I'm Salyer, I'm preparing as if he's not. Even if he doesn't practice, what's today? Today's Tuesday. So they'll probably have today off and work day Wednesday comes, if that's what their schedule is. Even if he doesn't practice tomorrow, I'm preparing as if I'm going to be the guy. If he practices on Thursday, I'm going to prepare as if I'm the guy, because again, that opportunity might come up and you need to be ready when it does. But unless it's and they didn't report it as a concussion, but when you say head injury, that's basically what we can assume that it was. But we all know what they say about assumptions. I expect him to be there. I do. I expect him to be there. I do.
Cam Hart and Elijah Molden are questionable as well. So we'll have to see where that goes. This Tuesday, everyone's questionable, right, Jim?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
yeah, I'm not concerned about the running game. I love what we saw out of Hampton when he was given the opportunity. He got the touches, and man, he really performed. I know it's important in this game more than maybe any other game about the next man up. You've got to have somebody ready to go, because any tiny little thing can throw your entire a section of your game off. Of the tiniest little mishap or injury can be a problem. And so, we've got to be ready as far as the running game goes there. But I have to say, I love the development of Hampton once given the opportunity in this game. I mean, all those touches, man, he really produced and looked terrific.
On the defensive line, KB, T.R. Tart is a guy that I'm starting to like more, because he's just a beast out there. I mean, he gets like, I don't want to call him, he's not a dirty player, but I feel like his aggressiveness, his aggression is ratcheted up to 11. He gets after it. And yeah, sometimes it gets him a flag here and there. But I think the Chargers are willing to live with that, because he just gets after it.
He makes plays, right? He does his job. And so here's the thing about football. Everybody's not going to be a 4.2 student with a clean record. So I need guys out there with a certain mentality, especially at on my defensive unit. I need guys that are borderline. Listen, I need you borderline going to jail. Okay. I need a borderline prison mentality. Like, I want dogs. I want savages on defenses. I want guys who don't care. It's all about controlled chaos, right? I want you to be right on that line to where you created a whole lot of chaos, but you're still in control. And Terrence Hart is that, he's a guy, he has this personality, he has this demeanor, he has it all. That's what you want from a defensive player, especially on that defensive line. So I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Yeah, he's going to cost you a penalty here and there, but the dude is going to make plays. He's going to show up when it's time. He's going to show up in prime time spots, and that's what he does.
All in all, I mean, the penalties were good this week. We couldn't complain about that at all. The Denver Broncos did us a bunch of favors with 10 penalties in that game, which is, that's a lot. And I'm sure that they are working on that today to be sure to clean that up, because you can't afford that. From a game plan perspective, JD, week 1 and 2, a lot of throwing the ball. Yeah, against the Denver Broncos, they had a more balanced attack, and it worked out just fine. When you walk into this one against the Giants, do you, now I'm not asking what you think is going to happen. I'm asking you what you would like to see. I'm on record saying I want to see them throw the ball more and more and more. Not more than 70%. I like that number, but that's still a high number. The balanced attack that KB wants, sure, that's probably a better game plan, but I'm telling you what I want. I want to see Ladd McConkey touching the ball a lot. What do you want?
I think that's what Charger public is screaming for too, and I know that's what fantasy football public is screaming for, is more Ladd McConkey. But yeah, we love the aerial game, and we've got a guy that the coach is even saying it. It's my job to get him to the Hall of Fame. Well, he's getting to the Hall of Fame on his arm, not for handing the ball off. So yeah, I would love to see Herbie air it out, especially against this air quotes inferior team. I don't want to wave that flag too much, because this is that corner dog thing that you got to be careful what you wish for. You want somebody that's beat up and reeling and stuff like that, and you wind up showing up at somebody's house and they're a little bit angrier than you thought, and you're maybe not as focused as you thought, and the next thing you know, you're down 16 points. Yeah. So yeah, I do want to see him air it out, because I want to see him get some points on the board. But you know what? I want to see more Omarion Hampton too, man. I got a taste, and I want some more.
Listen, this team is dead last in run defense, okay? Dead last. Out of 32 teams, they are number 32. Yes. If we don't see the Chargers with a heavy dosage of Omarion Hampton this week, this is the week where you want to see him find his rhythm. Right. We can throw the ball every other week, right? But when you're playing against the worst run defense of the NFL, you want to capitalize on that, right? This is your young guy, the guy that has no experience at the NFL level, a guy that is now going to be leaned on far more than what he was expected to when you had Najee Harris available. So Herbie's my guy. That is my absolute guy. I want to see him throw for 5,000 yards, and I want it. But with that being said, this is the dead last team in run defense. Attack them. And you don't have to put the whole game on Herbie's hands, but get your young guy ready, get him the experience that he needs, allow him to get comfortable. So when you do need him, he's there.
That's his final word of the day. Kenyon's got to go take care of business. He said we could have him till 12. So KB, go do your thing, and we'll talk Sunday after the game. Have a good one, man.
Appreciate y'all.
See you, brother.
That's KENJON BARNER, 10 years in the league, keeps us all looking a little bit smarter. Yeah, Jim, I look at this offense, and it's just exciting. You're right. I mean, as much as we want to see more throwing the ball, more of what Herbert's doing really well right now, we want to see him find Ladd McConkey. I like it because it just seems so easy. Slant patterns, to me, is the easiest play in football, and I don't understand why they don't run it more, because it always seems to work. But you got to keep the defense guessing. Quentin Johnson stretching the field is very exciting, right? We want to see that too. And then Keenan Allen doing his thing.
Did you see the incident in the stands with the touchdown ball? Keenan went over to the stands to toss a ball to his wife, and a fan intercepted his pass to his wife.
I missed that. No,
Twitter exploded in the stands, and the guy went, "Oh man, I didn't know." And he went and he gave it back to her, and she tweeted, "I got it back. It's okay."
Well, Will Dissly didn't play against the Broncos. He's questionable. There's a knee thing going on there. Oronde Gadsden had a fantastic game. So stepped right up in his first professional game. By the way, I don't know if we didn't talk about it today. I think we forgot to get into it against the Broncos, but the touchdown for Hampton was his first touchdown of his career. And it was the first running touchdown for the Chargers all season. That tells you right there how much they've been running the ball. It hasn't been a whole lot, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Omarion Hampton goes out and, puts up triple digits and has a big whale of a game against this inferior defense in the Giants.
What great timing for us to get the worst rush defense in football when we need to kind of test drive our running game a little bit and see what we're going to do, what direction we're going to go, who's going to wind up backing Hampton up. So, I mean, it's wonderful timing. Boy, you guys, that's part of, a great run, a championship run, a winning run of any kind. You got to get some rub. You have to have some luck. Things got to bounce your way every once in a while. And this is one of those opportunities for us to go out there and run the ball and really see what the running game looks like against a seriously inferior run defense.
Yeah, I just like where they're sitting in the, it's almost too good to be true. 2 games up. I mean, they're 2 up. Yeah. Everybody else in the West is 1-2, which is crazy to think of. Kansas City's going to figure it out. Broncos are good. There's no doubt. Raiders, I don't know. They still got some work to do.
Raiders and the Broncos filled us with a lot of hype in the preseason, and the media seemed to buy the Broncos stuff a little bit more. And they've been a disappointment. The Raiders were obviously just talking smack. And so they are what Vegas knew. If you looked at the numbers, the odds for who to win this division, it was 100, 300, 400, 1,300 for the Raiders. It wasn't even close. The division, I mean, I don't want to write Kansas City off. They're talented players. They're well coached. But they look in disarray, and it's not just the injuries and suspensions. The team just looks in disarray. I'll blame it on Taylor Swift.
How dare you?
Distraction.
What are the Super Bowl? I thought I saw the Chargers at 5 right now for Super Bowl odds. Let's see what FanDuel has there, because I also thought it was interesting from the baseball perspective as the regular season is winding down. The Dodgers were the favorites all year long, but they've been pushed back to 3 and 4 depending on where you look. Behind Seattle, they have Seattle higher than the Dodgers right now to win the World Series. I think they have the Brewers up there. The Phillies are the favorite right now to win the World Series. As far as the Super Bowl, the favorites are the Buffalo Bills, Ravens, Packers, Eagles, Lions, Chiefs. Wow. All ahead of the Chargers and Rams. That's how
I think you can take the Packers out of there now. Those posers are exposed.
1 week in, you think they're out of it already? All right. I mean, one loss
winning a Super Bowl. Yeah, I do. I thought they got all pumped up with Micah Parsons. They won that first game against the Lions, but the Lions had a nice bounce back after just the other night, that I think that says a little bit more about that win or that loss.
Yeah, that was an ugly loss for them to the Cleveland Browns.
I don't see that offense. I don't see love in that offense. That's not a Super Bowl offense to me at all.
Plus 1,500 if you want to get in on it now. Again, FanDuel has these things. You can bet on them right now still. Buffalo is plus 480, Ravens plus 600, Green Bay plus 7, Eagles plus 750, and the Lions plus 1,200. Right behind the Chargers or the Rams at plus 1,700. So I thought I saw him a little bit higher, but that must have been another book. So we head into New Jersey to face the defeated New York Giants. A good place to be. I don't know. Let's see if I'm sure they have a number out. Let's see how accurate I was with my speculation of 7 as the Chargers. They have a matchup predictor at 74%. And the number is not here on ESPN. So anyway, one final thought, Jim. I want to talk about this with Kenyon because he always loves to talk about special teams. But how big a factor and how important, kind of the unsung hero of this special teams, and any team you've got a good punter. J.K. Scott has been fantastic, giving them field position and just booting the crap out of the ball. Mm-hmm. And it's rare that you can sit here and say, listen, this guy's a tool for us. He's an absolute weapon, and he's part of the whole success of this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, let's just go kicking game. Let's lump them all together. Dicker, on top of that, I said this earlier, you got to get all facets of the game right. You have to fire on all cylinders. I mean, we've heard a number of championship players tell us this in all sports for many years. Everything's got to go right. For you to win a championship, it's all got to go right. And this is a big part of it. And punting actually is all about field position. If you've got a guy that can trap people in the coffin corner or just boom things away when you're the ones down in the corner, it's all the difference in the world. Field position, wow. I mean, how you start, where that drive starts, everything in the world. So yeah, both of those guys, the kicking game is on point right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was close. Chargers are 6.5 point favorites going into this one. So that's what we have for Sunday in New York, or New Jersey to be specific, as
Jersey.
The Giants will send Jackson Dart under center and Russell Wilson will be wearing a headset. So we'll be here on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel to break it down when it is done. Jim, appreciate the time as always. Good stuff today. Getting ready for this fourth game of the season, coming off a nice win over the Denver Broncos. And after the game, it'll be me, Kenyon, and I believe Daniel will be joining us this week. Daniel Wade from the Locked On Chargers daily podcast, which you can find on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. For Jim Daniels, I am Pete Fox. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate your comments, except from the people that think I'm an idiot, because you're wrong. I'm not. Have a go. Take care. We'll talk on Sunday.